nostalgic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wax Nostalgic, a podcast where we turn the clock back to the good old days. I'm your co-host, Graham Johnstone.
I'm Sam Bagnall.
And I'm Ryan Kerwin.
That intro definitely had a little bit of a different energy than we've had in the past. It was
newscasters.
kind of this, newscaster, but almost like a little bit of
NPR.
SMR?
Oh,
ASMR,
Oh,
where
yeah.
it was like kind of like soothing, soft, and hear the vibrations of my vocal cords in your ear holes.
That's right. You can
So-
hear me clack my teeth together.
Oh,
I
God.
hope you're wearing high quality headphones. that was really unpleasant. All right.
I apologize. Please don't turn it off.
That's right. We just lost half our listener base. You know,
Well, since-
one out of two.
Since we've gotten that one out of the way,
Uh-huh.
today we're going to talk about some fun topics. Our first one is going to be hot sauce. You guys have some fun, or spicy food, I should say.
Yeah.
I particularly have a special memory of hot sauce, but I'm curious if you guys do.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. Who wants to go first?
Absolutely. I'll go first. Yeah, we do. Great.
Cool.
Yeah, we all got
episode
stories.
over.
All right, bye, guys.
Somebody talk. This is Graham.
Hi, Graham.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
And how long have you been a sauceaholic?
My name's Graham. I'm a spiceaholic. Well, so I'm like really big into hot food. It's hot spicy. I have a show called Spice Freaks,
Oh, no way.
which you guys were on.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
So a little cross promotion there. SpiceFreaks.tv. We're on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok. So anyway, get that out of the way. We review spicy food. Talk about hot stuff.
It's pretty awesome.
So anyway,
if nobody listening has watched it, you should.
Check it out
it's
if you're
really
into
fun.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I like have always loved it. I don't know, like I think I just get like a high from it. Like I like that feeling when like you eat something that's so spicy that like your ears ring.
Yeah.
And like your body like shuts down basically.
Yeah.
It's called poisoning yourself.
Right. I love it when you die. Yeah.
Yeah, so I call that spice nirvana. It's like this
yeah.
like next level of like
Oh, yeah.
spice consciousness.
It's like euphoric almost.
Yeah, almost euphoric. Yeah. So anyway, like my first, and it's funny, I don't remember this, but my mom always talks about it. She says when I was a baby, she would give me like salsa and chips. But instead of eating the chips, I would just lick and like suck the salsa off and put the chips down.
Because you didn't have teeth yet.
Oh.
Chips were really hard to eat.
I mean, I hope my mom wasn't giving me chips.
to gum on it.
Yeah.
That's right. Sit in the corner and gum those chips.
Seems like a choking hazard.
Hey, parenting was different back then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I used to eat glass as a kid.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So that was like, it's funny. She always talks about that. I'm like, I actually had no idea, but that makes a lot of sense. And then as I got older, I was always like, hey, where's the hot sauce? Where's the hot sauce? Like that kind of stuff. And I always loved kind of like we talked about this a little bit yesterday on the show. Like it used to be all the it was like it was really hard to find hot sauce.
Yeah.
That was interesting. You always had like the Tabasco and like whatever, like kind of the normal, normal, like,
classics.
yeah. But like finding the other stuff, it was like you either had to find a specialty shop and it was always named like ass burner or
Nuclear
something
fart machine.
something that has to do with like butts and farting and like
death.
yeah, like ring of fire, stuff like that. So I was always like interested in that kind of like finding those like hot sauces and like always loved like the challenge and stuff, but we never really were able to find very much of that.
Yeah.
But I do have a memory of when I was like younger. I think I used to hang out with this kid, and his parents would go to Costco or like a big warehouse, and they would get a giant jug of peppercini peppers.
Oh,
cool.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't know why me and my friend would sit out on this patio, like back porch patio, and we would just eat them like snacks, like candy.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like, we would eat it. It was like, oh god, it's so hot, it's so hot, and then like stop and then eat them again, and like that was definitely like a memory where I was just like, I'm like, man, I love this. Like and I love like I've always loved kind of like the vinegar tastes of like the vinegar flavors and like that kind of stuff.
Do you have like a hot sauce? I know. I mean, again, he has a show that he reviews tons of different hot sauces, and a lot of them are really good. But do you have one that you would say is like your favorite hot sauce that you've ever had?
You know what? Like, at the risk of sounding boring or whatever, like, I would say my go-to kind of like hot sauce that I really love, and that can be used on quite a bit of different things, is Frank's Red Hot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I actually like that a lot too. Yeah.
So, and we also kind of talked about this when we were doing the show too. It was like there are those purpose built sauces where it's like, man, it's like you can only kind of really put this on certain things, and I've had a lot of those are really good. Like the gourmet ones where the chef, very chef inspired, and some of those though, you can't really, the versatility is not there. So I think for like versatility wise, something that I always have on the shelf. Also, I love Valentina.
Yeah, Valentina's pretty good.
If you want to go kind of like the the Mexican route or like the Latin route, like Melinda's is good. I really like anything that Melinda's makes. I seem to love. Tabasco is good, but it's not my ultimate favorite. I know. You think it's yours,
it's
right?
mine,
Oh, it's yours. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about that here in a minute.
So
in my segment.
Yeah, when the floor is yours.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, no.
I just remember too. I remember when Flamin' Hot Cheetos came out.
Oh man.
And I could not stop eating those things.
Graham
man.
is a big fan of Flamin' Hot stuff.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation.
You get
before.
the like stuff on
The
your
dust.
finger. Yeah, the dust on your fingers, and man, that
and in your eyes.
I remember those came out. I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, and I was like, "What is this? This is amazing."
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of inspired. Like, now that it's been out for a while, it just seems normal, right? It's like, oh, of course there's these very spicy, crunchy, corny, whatever, knobby things.
Yeah.
But at the time...
knobbly little crunchies.
I don't work for the marketing department. It's okay.
I can tell.
Maybe you should. I was going to say you should, man.
Give me the crunchy knobblies, yeah.
Knobbly bubbly.
But yeah, I'm sure like at the time when someone pitched that, I mean, they made a movie about Flamin' Hot Cheetos recently. I haven't watched it. Did you? Okay. Yeah. Was it like people were just like, you're crazy. People don't want to be spiced out of their minds when they're eating a little crunchy knobblies?
I think that was kind of the idea. It was like this underdog story about this guy who made it. He was like a janitor at like the Cheeto factory or whatever.
So it's like Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah, it's like Goodwill Hunting, but way cooler.
And it was like this guy. He was like Mexican, Latin, some kind, and so he was like, he like, and it was like, and I think the executives are like these old white guys, and they're like, what? Why would anybody want this?
Someone want something spicy that burns on their mouth, and he's like, this is actually a huge part of my culture, and they're like, and then
that's right. Good for you, young man. Yeah.
That was a good movie. I liked it.
Nice.
Okay,
I would
I'll
recommend
have to
it.
watch it. Yeah,
it's a fun like.
I think didn't it get some awards or something like that? Like when I saw it, I fully thought it was just like a joke trailer because it's like, oh, it's just an ad for Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
But then I think I saw like at one of those like Golden Globes or something like that, it was like getting some best original screenplay or whatever. I don't know. I'm probably not that one, but like some kind of
best original screenplay.
Wow, that's
bold.
Best picture,
That's right. Yeah, sorry, it was the Oscars. We got the
Oscars.
Best actor, best actress. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you're finished,
go ahead.
I'll segue into mine because we were talking about Tabasco.
Yeah.
Tabasco is my personal favorite go-to sauce, just regular plain Tabasco, which some people think is, boring or crazy or weird because it's just like vinegar.
No, I said you're boring, crazy, and weird.
Oh, but my love for Tabasco.
Yeah. Sorry, a little misunderstanding.
But it all started long ago when I was very young.
Long ago.
Wind chimes play. Yeah.
There's like a baby Sam.
Yeah.
Right.
Look exactly the same, but just way smaller.
With
but
a beard and everything.
Yeah.
I don't have a beard. Since when? Sick. No, so, back when we were kids, I'm sure people listening will be familiar with the concept of like you talk back to your parents or you do something wrong and they'll give you like a bar of soap to put a bar of soap in your mouth because that's how you get punished. And my parents were like, okay, you get a tablespoonful of Tabasco, like that's your punishment for being bad or whatever, instead of soap. And my older brother, and I believe maybe even my little brother at the time, were like super averse to spice. They didn't like spicy food, and so it was like, no, I don't want Tabasco, whatever. But I like secretly liked it. I was like, oh, this is delicious. And so I kept kind of feigning that it was like horrible, like, no, please, just give me the soap instead, like whatever, because they thought that I'd prefer the soap, so they gave me the Tabasco. But then I would be like sneaking down in the middle of the night and like getting myself a spoonful of Tabasco and like eating it because I really liked it.
And you weren't doing that with soap.
And I wasn't doing that with soap.
Yeah.
But then my little brother kind of caught on, and so he started doing that with soap, and he would just sit and blow bubbles.
Oh my God,
he would put soap in his mouth, and then like a bar of soap, and then he would just sit and like blow bubbles with it. And my parents were like, none of these punishments work. Like, so they ended up just starting to like take away our Game Boys and things that would actually like affect us negatively.
So it sounds like you were a bad kid.
Not particularly. I mean, it's not like it was an all the time thing. It wasn't like every day I'm like, all right, time for my dose of Tabasco.
What can I break today?
You just start breaking stuff on purpose.
Oops, guess I need my punishment.
Oh no, not Tabasco. No, I mean, it wasn't like an everyday thing, but it was like, kids get in trouble, kids do things, and it was always this thing that was like, I had this cheat code for a little while that was like, haha.
You can't touch me. Yeah.
My parents, I'm sure, figured it out.
Well, that's
diplomatic immunity.
That's like when my parents like, go to your room, and I was like, fine, all my toys are there.
All right. No. Oh shoot, I get to go play with my stuff.
Yeah.
Alone without you bothering me.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
That one backfired.
Yeah. So that's where my love for hot sauce developed, was at that age when I was like, oh, cool, this is delicious. And I still love Tabasco. I have a giant bottle of it at all times, basically. So
show me it now.
Well, it's at home, but...
Oh, poking holes in that story already.
I gotta get one of those holsters, speaking of that.
Oh, yeah,
I do have a hot sauce holster. I can give it to you. I can bring it to you.
Yeah,
I can't remember. My mother has one she got, like, at a restaurant or something like that, but it's like a tiny... It's like... You remember, like, the little soy sauce things you used to get where it's like a fully self-contained little bottle?
Yeah.
It's like kind of that, but like Tabasco.
Yeah, I have seen those around. I'm not going to eat... That's not enough Tabasco. I'd need like a box of those for my portion of Tabasco.
Fair enough. Yeah, you can get then like a blender. You just blend it up, and it opens them all at once.
Yeah,
and then you just sieve out the plastic,
the glass and plastic or whatever it is. It's not dangerous.
I'm an ideas guy. Yeah,
ideas. So you're not in marketing for Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Are you in marketing for McIlhenny Tabasco?
Is that the company?
Yeah, McIlhenny Farms.
Then yes, definitely. I totally know the company.
Cool. on Avery Island in Louisiana.
Wow.
I was in New Orleans a couple times last year. No, a couple years ago, and really wanted to go there, but it's a little far. I think we had to like rent a car or something to go like. Yeah. And I was like,
I was out there a couple years ago, and
happen.
it was the same type of thing. And we had like planned to do it, to go out there, but then there was like some crawfish festival or something the same weekend, and it was just like a chaos. And so it was like,
was it there at the?
It was in New Orleans, but like rental cars were crazy expensive.
Got it. Oh, so just trying to like get out there was
so we were in New Orleans proper, and it was like far enough out to where it was like it's gonna cost us so much money, and it's like whatever, so we just opted out. But I'd like to go because that.
Did you get to eat the crayfish?
I'm not a crayfish guy. Don't like it.
Oh, that's fair.
So, no.
Okay.
No. All right, that's my story.
All right.
The story is you don't like crayfish. Yeah. No.
That's moral of the story. Don't
Yeah.
give me things that are from the water, basically.
Okay.
Suck the brains out and all that.
So you'll only eat like salt that comes from mines or whatever, not sea salt. Yeah.
Mines.
Isn't there salt that like they get out of the ground instead of? It's probably like
Ground
areas
salt?
that used to be
That sounds right.
oceans.
There's ground
I don't know,
salt, sea salt.
Have you guys ever driven like?
Yeah, I've driven.
Have you guys ever driven through Salt Lake City?
I've driven like
Salt Lake City.
past. Like, yeah, I've seen the road signs, but I never like.
Once you go, like, so I helped my buddy move out to California a couple of years ago, and once you drive past and you're driving along salt flats.
The salt flats, right.
Like, dude, there are they're giant mountains of salt.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. Like, what is that white stuff? And then I just realized, like, they're literally harvesting. There's like a Morton salt factory out there.
Yeah.
Not to.
So that's not from the sea. You could eat that.
Right, not directly.
Did
yeah.
you know, listeners, that
Listeners?
salt is the only thing that humans eat that was never alive?
Huh.
Some people would argue, like, oh, there's like iron and stuff, but you don't like sprinkle iron on your whatever.
Yeah, but iron comes from blood.
Yes.
Wait,
But it's the only mineral.
would you
that
count
we-
something like MSG as well, or?
I would say that kind of falls into salt family.
Oh,
What about
that's fair.
sugar?
Yeah.
It's
So you're not
like,
saying specifically sodium
not like-
chloride. You're saying like.
The salt family.
Yeah,
that you would
yeah.
Like sprinkle is the only thing that's like basically non-organic. Or
Yeah.
was never like a plant or an animal.
Interesting. I don't know enough about this to say if you're telling.
Oh my God, what is that? Somebody sounds like somebody's falling down the stairs.
This might be the end of the podcast.
Hold
Oh,
for
we're
noise.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
We're keeping that in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was for those of you who are listening, it sounded like something was falling downstairs outside.
Or like someone was in like a marching band with a bass drum, boom, boom, boom,
That's
boom.
true.
Yeah.
We should get out there with our trumpets and
Yeah.
bones.
Yeah. Louis
Ukuleles.
Armstrong.
Yeah.
Your guitar.
That's right. Well, now that I derailed us about salt, I can tell a hot sauce story.
Yeah, let's do it.
I did think of a hot sauce story because we were saying like we could open it to spicy food because I was having trouble thinking specifically of sauce.
Okay.
But I thought of a good one, and I feel like sometimes I push the bounds of what we talk about as our childhood because I'll do like until the end of high school.
Sure.
I think that's fine. I mean, just
Yeah.
looking back.
Sure. So yeah, a bit of context. I've always liked spicy food, but like I think my family never ate a lot of it. So like we would go out to restaurants. I was telling you guys this story the other day.
Yeah.
I ordered like pasta at this Italian restaurant. It came with those like dried chilies, and I was like, "Oh, surely you're supposed to eat that first."
Separately.
Ended up, crying and in pain for quite a while. But yeah, so I've always kind of been drawn to it. My favorite snack at recess when I was in middle school in Japan was these chips that I've also shared with you guys previously. They're these like habanero flavored rings, and they're pretty spicy. Nowadays, now that I've like I have experienced I've experienced much more spice. It doesn't feel as spicy as it did at the time, but that was always like a fun, like I'd share it with my friends and they'd be like, "Oh, it's too spicy." I'm like, "Ha, not for me," But hot sauce story. Have you guys ever been to a burrito joint that I think is Colorado specific called Big City Burrito? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Nice.
popular in Greeley.
Oh, okay,
When
excellent.
I was at college there.
So they had one in the Springs when I was in high school, which closed pretty soon after. And I don't know if it's like every branch did this, but the one in Colorado Springs, you could go there and you could sign a waiver to like check out a hot sauce that was like above a certain Scoville rating. And I'm sure like I don't think they really needed these waivers. I think it was all just like kind of part of the pageantry.
Yeah.
But they had some, I can't remember the numbers anymore, but like they had some like super spicy hot sauces. So like you could get your burrito, then just like throw some of that hot sauce on there. They give you just like a little, container of it. And then you just like be breathing fire. And I remember the worst one was one where it was like the top on their list. And finally, like my friends and I one day were like, "I'm going to get that top one, Got it. I was trying to be cautious. And so I just put like a little smear of it like in the middle of my burrito somewhere. Ate the burrito, went to math class afterwards. And I was just sitting there like...
Really?
like the whole time.
Did it take a while to kick in or something?
I think I started feeling it pretty immediately. But
Okay.
it just lingered.
lingered.
Yeah. It was.
I feel like Firehouse Subs did something similar for a while.
Did they?
Where
Okay.
had like a ton of different ones, and they had them like heat rated, and you could. I don't think you had to sign a waiver, but
Yeah.
like they just had like 400 hot sauces.
Oh,
that
nice.
You could like pick from.
Yeah, but that'd be fun. We should, because I know there's a Big City Burrito in Fort Collins.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I think the one time I've driven through Fort Collins, I was like, oh, Big City Burrito. And I was like, next time I'll stop there, but I haven't been back next time. So if you guys ever want to go to Fort Collins and
Just take a swing through really quick.
Just a little road trip.
yeah, we're in Denver for those who don't know. That's like what, an hour, 45 minutes?
Yeah, like an hour and maybe it's
like an
some
hour.
change depending on traffic.
Yeah,
Well, it depends on where it is too.
yeah.
If
And
it's like near the
downtown.
highway, it's easier. But if it's
Okay.
downtown, it's a little bit longer.
Gotcha.
Geography.
Geography, yeah. So let's pick a date and a time, and our listeners can meet us there and then.
Yeah, cool.
Listener meetup.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
getting started. Woo!
yeah. So
If any of you are groupies of the podcast,
that's right.
I mean fans.
We discussed groupies on the previous episode, yeah.
Groupie. The word groupie has a certain connotation.
Right.
If that's what you're into nowadays.
Right. But if you're a grouper, then you're a rather large fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. So don't feed you to Sam.
Sam will not eat
Yeah.
you. Don't worry.
Promise.
But you will taste good with hot sauce.
That's right. That ties it all together.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Cool. Well, that was a little bit of spicy conversation we had
A little
there.
spice.
Anything else you guys have to say about spicy food, hot sauce before we go to our not sponsors?
eat hot sauce.
Eat hot sauce.
Do it.
And
No.
check out Grimm's show.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
check out the show. Spicefreaks.tv.
Cool. Now a word from our not sponsors.
Hey, yo, Jock! It's me, Peter. I'm just trying to spice up my pizza game, and I don't have any good hot sauces. Any recommendations?
Oh, well, mon ami Pierre, you've come to the wrong person because I only cook French food and we do not like spice in France. We like butter.
Oh, man, I wish there was a place that could tell us exactly what kind of sauce we needed.
Hello, my name is Graham Johnstone. If you're like millions of us, you have anxiety when you go to the hot sauce aisle. You just don't know what to choose. There's so many options. Not to worry, we have a resource for you. Spicefreaks.tv. Spice Freaks is a video series and we chronicle all things spicy, from sauces to whatever is spicy. Check us out, spicefreaks.tv or YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. I'll see you there. Stay spicy, my friends.
Stay.
Hey, Jock! Stay spicy! Fuck, yeah. Sorry.
All right,
All right.
welcome back
We're
to
back.
part 2 of this episode of Wax Nostalgic. Before we talked about hot sauces, now we're going to talk about wetting our whistles in...
I did not drink the pool water.
we're going to talk about pools.
Wetting
so
ourselves, not wetting ourselves in that
Like,
way.
oh, yeah.
depends on what
no.
part
Like,
of the body
yeah.
you consider your whistle.
Getting
That's
wet.
true. That's
Getting
true.
wet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my whistle is my whole body.
So, wow. We're going to talk about pools and pool time experiences.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to start?
Sure, I'll start.
Sure.
All right. So, we had a neighborhood pool that was, I don't know, probably like a 15-minute walk from my house.
Okay.
And my parents, thank them for this. They got me started on swimming lessons like really early.
Nice.
So I think probably around kindergarten or something I started. Cool. And I used to go there for swimming lessons, and I actually really liked swimming, and I liked the experience, and it was cool because they like gave you a certificate. Mm-hmm. So
If you're listening to this, our boy just got back from Paris, a couple of gold medals for swimming.
that's right. And I got salmonella from the river.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, E. coli. No, that's you're good. But like, it was always fun. It was always fun because I liked the challenge, and it was cool because every year you graduated to like a different level, and I remember at some point I was getting good enough to like go deeper, and like then it was like, oh man, like I'm in deeper water, I can't touch the bottom now, and then like there's a diving board, and so you could jump off and
Stunts.
dive, and the one thing though, and I always think about this, is like I have this irrational fear of the deep end.
Oh.
and it was a 10-foot. It was like the pool was an L shape, so it was like shallow, and then it got a little bit deeper, probably 6 feet, 7 feet, something. And then in this little area on the side was the L, and that was the 10-foot deep.
Okay.
And it was darker. You look down and like, oh, that's and
Did they paint it darker, or was it just because it's
No,
deeper?
I think it was
okay.
probably. I think it was actually like the light
Yeah.
could not go that deep. You know,
Interesting, yeah.
Like, it was 10 feet. But as a kid,
Tell
you're-
that to Mariana's
Yeah.
trench.
exactly. As a kid, you're like, oh man, that's really deep,
Right.
and you could see the drain at the bottom, but it looked tiny, you know, and you're like, oh man, that is really deep. For whatever reason, I was so scared of like that deep water. And then I remember, like, I got a little bit older, and I was not as scared, but I still felt uneasy in that area. And I remember diving down to the bottom, and my ears popped.
Oh, yeah.
And
that pressure in your
and I'm like,
ears.
this isn't right. Like, something's not right here. Like,
No,
I
it's
don't like
that's
this.
how it's supposed to go. Yeah.
But in order to do the diving board, you had to jump off the. So it's kind of thing where I'm like,
Ooh.
I just had to deal with it.
Face your fears.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then one year, so I would go and do the swimming lessons, but then my parents also got me like a season pass, like a year pass for the summer.
Yeah.
So anytime that I wanted to go in the summer, I could go. So I used to go up there, and one year I was like messing around or whatever, and there was a group of like older guys, like older boys, and I just wanted to be really cool.
Sure.
I was like probably 7 or something,
Mission
and
success. You
they were
cool.
they were like
Wait until I see those Paris gold medals.
they were probably like early teens or something. They're like, belly flop contest, of course. So I like do the biggest belly flop possible off of the diving board.
Ooh.
It hurts so bad. dude.
Wait, how
It's not a
tall?
good-
How tall was the diving board? Was it like a high dive?
No, it was like
Okay.
a normal. I don't know,
Normal dive.
5 feet
Yeah.
off of the surface.
Okay, that's.
I don't know. I can't even really imagine the actual distance from the surface, but it was like a normal
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, I was
That
trying to
still
be
sounds
cool,
pretty
and I just
unfortunate. Yeah.
I just jumped and ran and jumped and belly flopped, and the guy's like, "Whoa, little dude! Like that was cool."
As your stomach is bleeding.
Yeah,
Dude,
you're just like
Nipples are bleeding,
like,
and you're like, "Are we friends now?"
you ruptured your spleen. Yeah.
It's like hitting concrete.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
not a pleasant feeling.
So that was the
yeah.
last time I did that.
Yeah. Did you ever jump off of like the high dive boards?
I don't think so. I don't think I ever had the balls to do that.
Yeah.
I think that was
Okay.
like,
Would
maybe
you do
like
it now?
maybe a mid dive.
Yeah.
Like a mid, like I don't even know what are the standard heights.
So let's say
Medium,
low,
yeah.
medium, high.
Yeah, okay. I would say maybe I did the medium one time, and I was
Yeah.
just like, nah. Like I think
Do you think you would do it now as an adult?
I don't know. Well, so when I was in Hawaii, I jumped off of there's like a cliff at the furthest point south.
Oh, were your friends jumping off a cliff?
No.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
He was the friend that was trying to get other
yeah.
people to
one
do
of the
it.
guys did do it.
Oh, well, there we go. So you can answer your mother truthfully
was
now.
Caesar
If all
sheep.
your friends jumped off a cliff, would you do it? Yeah.
I think it's probably like a 40 or 50 foot.
Oh, wow.
Pretty
And you
big.
just you jump right in the ocean.
Yeah.
And that was scary. It was scary. It was one of those things like you walk up to the edge and you look over and you think about it, and then you're like, fucked.
Right.
That's not for me. I'm
your
not
brain
big
is
into
like
that
all of a
type of
sudden you're
stuff.
like, oh
Yeah.
man, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. And then at some point I was just like, fuck it, and I just
Yeah.
do it.
I just
YOLO.
jumped.
Yep.
Especially if other people, you're like, this is not something that's like nobody else has ever done this. It's like,
Right.
everybody who jumps off of this is safe.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
once you tell your brain that enough times,
Yeah.
and then just trick yourself into doing it. But
Right.
I'm not into that type
Yeah.
of thing. I don't like jumping off of high stuff. I'm not really
Yeah.
afraid of heights, but I don't really like jumping off of heights.
It's
Yeah.
funny because I do like when I was a kid. I'm not gonna jump ahead to my story, but a lot of people, there was like this one public pool that people would do like birthday parties at quite a lot, and it had the high dive.
Yeah.
And I remember just loving like jumping off of it, because it would be like a little scary, but like I work my way up to it and then
Yep.
I'd jump and
Yep.
it would be like, oh, I
Get a
did
little
it,
adrenaline rush. you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I remember like trying to dive and like, not doing the right thing with my head. So you get like whiplash, because you're supposed to like break the water with your hands and then like your head goes in where it's broken.
Yeah.
But I would be like looking somewhere.
Hey, Mom!
Jumping 100 feet off the ground, and you're just like, oh, this is fun.
But no, like if I'm on a tower or something like that, and there's like a low wall, I get like a little nervous. Like I'm definitely about to jump off of this, and I don't know why I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it.
Here it goes. It's more. It's not you're afraid of it. You're afraid that you can't contain yourself.
Right.
Just
Like
oh my God.
Yeah. Like I've never done it.
Eiffel Tower. Here we go.
I know. Like,
Right.
don't go to the city. ever.
Ryan
Right.
also
No,
just
I-
got back from Paris.
That's right. I've never killed myself by jumping off of a high thing, but I'm just like convinced every time that there's an opportunity that I'm about to do it, and I don't know why.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Inner demons. We'll talk about this off.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So, and then at one point, like, I don't know, I always loved just going with, like, we had floaties. I had this, like, lobster thing. We had these, my mom bought me these, they were, like, sticks. They had different, like, points.
Oh yeah.
So you'd throw them all out. And then
Oh,
you'd
yeah,
get
yeah.
them.
Then you swim
Did you
and
ever
get
do
it.
the
Yeah.
torpedo?
What's that?
The little underwater torpedo toy, the like little missile that you would throw to your friends?
No.
No, I don't think I ever saw that thing.
Well, that's not what I'm going to talk about today. It was the coolest. 'cause
Sneak-
you could,
sneak
like,
it in
play
here,
catch
yeah.
underwater, so it would be like a rubber,
Man.
basically like a dildo, but it was like a rubber, heavy
Yeah.
rubber thing, and you could throw it underwater, and it would like be a dart, and you could like play catch
Wow.
with it. They were so fun. They were
cool.
super cool.
That sounds interesting. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to cut
Yeah.
out the dildo thing.
It was like a dildo for kids.
I mean, dude, I'll show you a picture.
Oh boy.
And then, well, I'm kind of like broaching a whole nother, like, part of the subject, but also we used to go to Glenwood Springs a lot. I think
I'm going to talk about that.
Maybe we talk
later,
about that. But yeah, that was like always super fun. Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh boy. Yep.
They were really
It
fun.
looks very 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Water was always like a part of my life when I was a kid, and I'm glad that like my parents like helped me, like took the resources like to like make me learn how to swim.
Yeah,
Because I think that's a valuable thing to know.
for sure.
Yeah.
So
I like know some adults that can't swim
Yeah.
confidently, and I'm like, really?
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
It's just weird, but if you can't swim, no judgment.
no judgment.
I'm judging you. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Who wants to go next? You want me to go next? You want to go next?
Do you want to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay. Fine.
So, I have two kind of fun stories that play a little bit together, both in pools. So, 1 year on family vacation, we like stopped through a hotel and we were swimming in the hotel pool, and this. Sorry, I'm laughing at my own story already. But this random family was also at the hotel in the pool. I think it was like Sioux Falls, Iowa, or something that we were in, and this kid rolls up and he like swims up to us. Me and my siblings were playing in the pool, and he's like, "Hi, do you guys want to smell my goggles?"
What?
And we were like, "What?" Like, we're like kids, I guess. Not like we were probably like 11, 12, and this kid
Yeah.
was a little younger.
Yeah.
And he rolls up and he's like, "You guys want to smell my goggles?" And we were like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "They're grape scented. I have grape scented goggles." And we're like, "What?" So we smelled his goggles. And sure enough, they were grape scented goggles. And he said scented, like scented. And then he's like, "Oh," we're like, "Oh, cool." And he's like, "I'm Nilsson." And we're like, "Okay." Sorry, Nilsson, if you're listening to this podcast. It's a great memory, but
Like Nilsson, like not Nelson.
it was Nelson,
Oh.
but just like he was saying scented.
Yeah,
as
scented
Scented,
Nelson.
he was saying
Got it.
Nelson
Got
as
it.
Nilsson.
Was he like from New Zealand or something like that?
I don't remember, but I just remember very specifically him being like, "My goggles are grape scented," and we were like, "What the hell?" So that's like that's part of my story. And then another odd pool interaction with a child is
As a child, though, right?
this is when I was like an adult.
Oh, okay.
Actually. Like I was probably like 21 when this happened.
Yeah.
But I have long hair, quite long hair, and it was even longer at the time than it was. But we were in Glenwood, just at the hot springs in Glenwood Springs. And
You ran into Nelson again.
Nilsson was there. No, good old grape goggles. That's what we called him forever. Like, dude, I still will go to my siblings and be like, "You guys remember grape goggles?" And they're like, "Dude, I can't forget grape goggles." But we were at Glenwood, and I'm like standing kind of by the edge, and all of a sudden this like small child just like jumps on top of me and like wraps his arms around me and like from the back, and I'm like, what the hell? Like I'm just hanging out, and I'm like, you know, I'm a dude, so I'm not wearing a shirt, and I've got my long hair and it's down, and he was just like, are you a girl? And I was like, no, I'm a boy. He's like, I think you're a girl. And I was like, I am not a girl. And he's like, well, why do you have long hair? And I'm like, this is little kid. And I'm like, oh yeah. So I like kind of go over by the steps and I'm talking to him and I'm like, yeah, so what's up? And he's like, it's really weird that you're not wearing a shirt because you're a girl. And I was like, I'm not a girl. I'm a boy. And I'm talking to him and I'm like, what's your name? And he was like, I can't tell you.
Is he still hanging on you at this point?
No, he's now like, I've like gotten him off of me. And he's like, I can't tell you. And I was like, why not? And he's like, it's embarrassing. And I was like, oh no, it can't be that embarrassing. Like, no, what's your name, little guy? And he's like, Cupcake.
No, dude. Is this a real story?
It's a real story.
This sounds like
his name wasn't actually Cupcake, I'm sure, but that's what his mom called him or whatever. So
I
like,
think-
come here, Cupcake. Or whatever.
I think you encountered an elf who was causing mischief.
Are you a
girl? Cupcake must know.
But he was like so sad. He was like, no, I can't tell you. I'm embarrassed. And I was like, it's okay. Like, it can't be that embarrassing. He's like, Cupcake.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, okay. If that is your real name, then that is pretty embarrassing, little guy.
I take it back. I want to be honest with you. That's quite embarrassing. Yeah.
Sorry, bud. You're going to have a tough life.
That's right. I may be a boy with long hair, but you are someone named Cupcake.
Yeah, you are a child named Cupcake. And then I think, I don't remember, maybe this is my brain just putting this in because it's awesome, but I'm pretty sure at some point his mom was like, oh, there you are, Cupcake. And like picked him up. But he was like, I mean, like a little kid. And I'm like an adult, and this kid was just like, yeah, talking to me, saying I was a girl, and then told me his name was Cupcake. And those are my pool stories. Meeting random kids that are wild.
I like that there's a general theme.
Yeah.
That's right. Wait, can we go back for a second to the grape goggles?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think, like, were they intentionally grape scented, or were they his just happened to smell like grapes?
I think they were like, you know, like you could get like smelly markers.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Okay, but that
And I
opens
think-
other questions. Because, like, why would you make scented goggles? Because you're going to wear them underwater where you're not smelling things, I hope.
But they go like over your nose, right?
They were just like just
that's
like
weird.
goggles.
Yeah.
It was like weird because that's exactly what we were like.
Yeah.
Grape scented goggles. Why do you have scented goggles?
Right,
Like,
right.
That's absurd. And
Well, you know, I wonder if like kind of like the 90s were like the scented years.
just
Yeah.
like put smells on
Like,
everything.
think about
That's
it.
true, yeah.
What adult thought it would be a good idea to have kids start smelling markers?
Right.
Right, and some,
And now
some of
let's
them have
get
never
I'm
stopped.
still like
markers.
Sharpie,
I know.
woohoo!
I
All
know.
right.
Let's get these kids
Yeah.
sniffing markers early.
That's right.
Let's get 'em
This one
hooked.
smells like yellow. Yeah.
I buy packs of markers that are all Sharpie scented. That's crazy. Like, I just really like that smell.
Yeah, I think we all do. That's pretty crazy.
So he did have, allegedly, I don't remember if they were, but I remember that smelling them and being like, oh, okay, they do kind of smell like artificial grape. Like, okay,
Were they scratch and sniff?
maybe. I don't remember.
Oh, that
There was,
reminds
like,
me.
Purple
You
rubber
remember? Did you guys ever?
goggles.
Were dumb blonde jokes a big thing in your circles?
Totally.
Yeah.
Are they not politically correct anymore, or are we still allowed to punch on blondes?
I mean, it's white people mostly,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So there was one that I remember, which
fun of
was
white
how do you kill a dumb blonde?
Oh.
Tell her to scratch and sniff on the bottom of the swimming pool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tell them to scratch and sniff on your goggles at the bottom of
Yeah.
the swimming pool. As an adult, that works wonders.
Yeah. So yeah, crazy.
That's my funny stories.
Those are quite
it's good.
hard to believe.
Yes, I did just spend all night writing them down. Like, all right, ChatGPT, tell me a
right.
funny pool story.
What is the funniest name for a child to have?
Cupcake.
Grape goggles. I can work with this. And cupcake. Perfect.
Sweet. 2 stories.
Two
Sounds like
stories.
you just like put something into a Mad Lib generator.
And his blank were blank scented.
Yeah, goggles, grape. Yeah. Excellent. Well, we can jump into my story
Yeah,
if you
please.
want. Yeah, I'll probably do a little bit of a scattershot as well. But yeah, no, same as you. I feel like being in the water has always been like a very comforting and pleasant thing, just swimming. I don't know if there's something about people, because obviously we didn't evolve to be in the water, but it's like such a natural feeling thing. When you're in the water, you're so comforted. But my first memory of being in the water,
Traumatic.
I mean, I wouldn't say traumatic, but
We love trauma here.
Yeah.
We love trauma.
we had a swimming pool in our backyard when I was a little kid, when we lived in Australia, and
Above ground or in ground?
in ground, yeah.
Wow.
And yeah,
They had money.
Fancy.
I don't know how expensive those are in Australia, but there's a lot of water. I know. Well, yeah. Anyway,
There's a lot of water. Can't be that
but
much.
yeah, but I was like playing on the edge of it or something like that when I shouldn't have been, because like no adults were around, and I fell into the pool.
Oh, jeez.
I didn't know how to swim, and I just have a very vague memory of just like sinking and
Oh,
just
God.
like not knowing what to do.
Very spooky. How old were you?
I was like 3 or 4, yeah. Yeah, and then my dad came and like pulled me out because my sister had seen me messing around with the pool and saw me fall in, so she like called my dad to come.
Oh,
so
wow.
technically, my sister saved my life.
Wow, good. You owe her everything.
might not
if you're
be-
listening all
That's
this,
right.
The seat might be empty.
yeah,
That's right.
Filled with somebody
Exactly.
else.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd be pretty awkward if you were like just setting up microphones for someone who just had died, 30 years ago.
I feel just the eerie need to set this third
That's right.
microphone.
I don't know why. Something's speaking to
It
me.
feels like there should be someone red-haired. Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy though. That's a
Yeah.
spooky story, and the fact that you like remember that feeling.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know how much of that is like real memories versus just like having heard about it enough when I was growing up. But like
How old were you?
it was like three or 4.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So before you learned to ride a bike,
Right, exactly. Yes, certainly before I learned to ride a bike in a pool.
Yeah.
I still haven't figured that
that
one
one's
out.
like,
Yeah,
40s.
right. But yeah, no, that was that was like I say, I have this distinct memory of just like sinking and just not knowing how to not sink.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
took a little
Jeez,
darker
dude.
twist, but
Well, let's go to the fun ones then.
yeah.
So tell us about what's comforting about that.
It's just like
Or
you don't-
like being in water, I should say.
yeah, it's less the drowning part, and I don't know, it's just fun to float and
Yeah.
like splash around. I've never been like a racing swimmer or something like that, but I don't remember a time where I couldn't just like swim.
Yeah.
Except for that memory.
Well, yeah, except for that
After
memory.
that, you learned how to swim real
From that one
fast.
memory
Yeah.
on, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because
Sorry for shaking
I know
the
we've
table.
spoken on previous episodes about like lake cabins in like Wisconsin and Minnesota,
Oh,
but yeah, so since I was very young, we've been going to that cabin, and the aunts and uncles are very cautious. They don't let you just like go out to the deep water alone when you're young, but like they'll come out with you and help you learn to swim, that kind of thing. So you kind of just pick it up over the years,
Yeah.
going back and forth
Sure.
there. But yeah, I guess the other funny story. I mean, I guess the first one wasn't that funny, but
The funny story.
I remember at my school in England, we had swimming classes that was just like, it was required. And being a school in England that was like a grammar school, or no, it wasn't a grammar school, it was just like a private school, and we had like uniforms. So many schools in England have uniforms. But we even had like swimming outfit uniforms, essentially.
Oh, wow.
So we had blue.
Not BYOT.
Right, no,
Bring
we
your own
had.
trunks.
Did you have like bonnets and like
Well, no, it wasn't like the 1800s. No.
I'm just imagining Ryan right now, not to be weird, but like Speedo, and then just like a swim bonnet. Very
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, that's my usual look, so that's why it comes so naturally to you.
Yeah.
No, but it was a
sin
speedo,
if you show ankle.
and it wasn't bonnets, but it was like the rubber caps, the swimming caps. So yeah, we would go to the school down the road, like once a week or whatever, and just get in our speedos and rubber caps and goggles and hop in the pool and splash around. I don't know.
What scent were your goggles?
Not scented, goggles scented or chlorine at best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
boring.
Original line, yeah.
yeah.
But no, I just thought it's a funny picture because I've never in my life sought out wearing a Speedo other than the time that my elementary school said I had to.
That's an interesting choice for like, elementary school kids.
Yeah. Well, because it's funny.
Different time, different location.
But, like,
I feel
But were you like doing like racing?
No, we were learning like the different strokes
Got it.
for different folks.
Although that's a European thing, the Speedo.
Yes, I think it is more European, yeah. But we'd also learned like, life-saving stuff. So like, if I could still remember it, like if you're floundering in the ocean or something like that, I know the position you're supposed to take someone in so you can swim with them back to shore,
Cool.
Oh, I never
some
learned
of
that.
stuff when I was in like high school.
Yeah,
High
yeah.
school swim class.
Yeah, exactly.
Treading water and
Yep,
like,
treading
different
water,
ways
yeah.
of floating and the different ways of
Yeah.
maintaining energy and all of that jazz.
Yeah, just in case you're ever like in a plane crash in the middle of the ocean.
Which happens to a very small percent of people.
That's
Only
right.
if you're in a Boeing.
That's right. Yeah.
You want to? So this is a little off topic, but if you're ever feeling like you're useless in life, remember that there are lifeguards at the Olympics.
That is pretty funny. Although I wonder how often they have people who are like just pushing themselves to the limit and they just like pass
Explode.
out or something. Yeah, explode. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like every single person in the room is like a professional swimmer.
Right,
It's
that
like,
is true.
You need a lifeguard sitting there with the floaty. Like, could just be the coaches or the other players.
That is true.
the
That's a good point.
Teammates.
Yeah. Maybe they're just people who really like sitting on high chairs.
Hi. So regal.
Yeah, that's right.
High
Exactly.
and mighty.
I've trained my whole life to sit next to this pool. Yeah. Nice.
Cool.
So those were not maybe the most interesting pool stories, but those are my pool stories.
All
right. No,
One
that's
was
good.
super interesting, but not really fun.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Have you guys? Because I feel like a lot of people I've like spoken to about this, they're like, "Oh yeah, I fell in a pool when I was a kid too." No?
That never
Really?
happened to me.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I know
Well,
a
now-
dude who fell into a lake,
yeah.
but I don't. He's fine. But
I mean, now you're required to have a fence around it.
Oh yeah.
Like,
okay.
I don't know if that was probably not a requirement when we grew up, but
Yeah.
like, you're supposed to have a fence for that reason. So
in your own
yeah,
backyard.
if you, you're supposed to have a fence around the actual pool.
Funnily enough, that came up when I was in Australia last, which was last July, and we were seeing some old friends. Actually, okay, bit of backstory. My best friend when I was a little kid in Australia was this kid called Lenny, and he had that same experience of falling in a pool.
Lenny?
Lenny, Lenny.
Lenny?
Lenny, yes.
Sorry.
No, that would be New Zealand.
Well, I was going from Nielsen.
Is that Nilsson?
I know. Well, yeah, but the New Zealand accent, they do like replace the like eh with an e a lot of time. You know, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
How dare you? But anyway, yeah. So we had dinner with his family when we were back over there, and this is like 30 years after I was a kid there. And they have a swimming pool as well, which I think was probably the one that he fell in when he was a kid. But now there's a fence around it, and they were saying that in the last couple of years they had to put it around there just in case any animals come through the yard or if like people stumble into your yard.
There was a
I don't
Curb
know.
Your Enthusiasm season where it was all based upon the fact that. Do you guys watch that show?
I haven't.
I've
It's
seen,
on
like-
my
I've seen an
short
episode or
list
two.
of shows
Larry,
to watch, but I have not.
Larry doesn't have a fence around his pool, and I'm kind of paraphrasing this, but basically what happens is somebody is over there working on his house, and he blackmails Larry, and says, "If you don't cast my daughter in your movie or TV show, I'm going to turn you in."
Wow.
And so he has to cast this woman who's like this, not an
Just
actress,
Get a fence.
because that's the show is like, yeah.
That's pretty
Anyway,
funny.
so
Nice. So swimming pools, don't fall in them, folks.
Be safe. Respect your lifeguards.
Yep.
Respect Adult Swim. Sometimes us
Yep.
old folks need to swim.
I thought you were talking about the Cartoon Network TV
That too.
section.
That
You know
too.
Adult Swim?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Respect it.
respect Adult Swim.
All right. Well, on that note, I think that's the end of this episode. Thanks for listening to Wax Nostalgic once again.
Maybe Adult
Hopefully
Swim
again.
can be one of our non-sponsors.
Hey, there
yeah.
we go. Join us
Space
next
Ghost.
time when
Yeah.
Coast to coast.
That'd be a great
Robot
guest to have.
Chicken and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Squid Billies.
Metalocalypse.
Isn't that on there?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Wax Nostalgic Podcast was produced and recorded at Black Dove Studios in Denver, Colorado. Audio post-production and engineering by Sam Bagnall. Video production and post-production by Graham Johnstone. IT and social media management by Ryan Kerwin. Check out this and other creative projects by adding to the noise at attnlab.com. That's attnlab.com.